Hello guys, today I'm just making a video on some basics of how to solve questions related to maths inequalities. And I know that many of you guys have maths inequalities for your IGCS exams or GCS exams, or you guys just want to learn for general use. I think this video might really help you guys and give you some tips for how to solve questions related to inequalities. Okay, so if you guys have enjoyed the video, please do like, share, and subscribe to the channel. It really helps a lot. And yeah, let's begin with the video. Okay, so the first question states solve 2x plus 7 is greater than x plus 11. Now, what you need to understand is the tip here that you guys need to know is to treat this like a normal equation, like a normal algebraic equation, since this is just an inequality with an algebraic statement involved, right? So you're going to write here 2x plus 7 is equal to x plus 11, and you have 2x minus x. All we're doing here is just making x the subject of the formula, and yeah, that's it. So you have x is equal to 11 minus 7, that is should be 4. And now the reason I put an equal sign is because we have to treat this like a normal equation in order to solve this. So that's why I put an equal sign symbol, so that it's easier for us to rearrange this equation and make x the subject of the formula. Now all you need to do is not to leave it like this, you have to put the greater than sign, right? So you have x should be greater than 4. And one more tip is that if you're multiplying or dividing by a negative value, the signs do flip. So you change the inequality symbol of your equation. Alright, so you have, in this case it's just x greater than 4. Since we're not multiplying or dividing by any negative value, we just leave it as it is. So you have x is greater than 4, and that should be it. Okay, now the second question states that you have on the number line, you have to show the inequality x is greater than minus 3. Now one more tip here is that if you have less than signs or another greater than sign with no equal symbol, you just need to put a small circle but with no filling inside of it. You don't need to shade the circle, you just leave it as a normal circle. But if you have a symbol like less than equal to or greater than equal to, you have to draw the circle but shade it inside, just to specify that it's equal to that certain value. So in this case you have greater than sign and it's positioned at minus 3. So all you're going to do is put a circle at minus 3, and we have to find the x values that are greater than minus 3. Since we know the values, all the values on the right are greater than minus 3, we draw a smooth arrow just to represent that. So you have all the values, but we are not including minus 3, but we have all the values of x which is greater than minus 3. And yeah, that's it. That's all you need to do for this question. Let's move on to the third question, which states that n is an integer such that minus 3 is less than 2n less than 6. Write down all the possible values of n. Now, for this question, you got to treat this as a normal equation, like I said. So you have minus 3 less than 2n less than 6. So what happens here is you have to create like an overlap. I'm just going to put two circles just to show it's similar to a Venn diagram, but not technically similar to a Venn diagram. We're just using the idea concept behind this. So you have minus 3 less than 2n, 2n less than 6. Just treat this like a normal equation. You have minus 3 equals to 2n, 2n equal to 6, n is equal to minus 3 divided by 2, which can be also called as n is equal to minus 1.5, n is equal to 3 once we simplify by dividing 6 divided by 2 to give us 3. So you have two values of n, and we have to write down all the possible values of n. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to sketch a small graph, just an assumption that it's 3 here and this is 1.5. We need all the values that are inside, so n, and we have to find all the values that are greater than minus 1.5, so the signs do change here. And n should be less than 3. We need all the values that are less than 3. So now, if we put this into an equation form, you have n which is less than 3 and n which is greater than minus 1.5. Now if you don't leave it as it is, you need to write down all the possible values of n. So we have to write minus 1, comma 0, comma 1, comma 2. Now this is your answer, it should be correct. The reason why we have not included minus 1.5 or 3 is because they have less than signs and they have no equal to symbols. Okay, so that's why we write -1, 0, 1, 2. Simple and neat, and yeah, we can move on to the next question. Right, so now the question here, question 4, states that you have to solve the inequality -x squared plus 2x plus 3 is greater than 0. Now we have to treat this like a quadratic equation because you have x squared written there. So what you need to do is you have to put -x squared plus 2x plus 3 is equal to 0. Now what I strongly advise you guys to do is to multiply everything by -1. Once you do that, you have x squared negative 2x and the -3 is going to be equal to a 0. So once you do that, you can put it in your calculator. I have a video on how to solve quadratics using the calculator, so do check that out. So once you put that in your calculator, you should be getting a value of x is equal to 3 and x is equal to -1, right? And once you do that, you're going to sketch a small graph. So assuming that you have 3 here and you have -1 here, you're going to sketch a graph, a quadratic graph. It's going to be an upward, no, actually it's going to be a downward curve. Now the reason is because it'll cross the x-axis at -1 and 3, and as the x term is negative, it will be an n-shaped curve. So you're going to have an n-shaped curve, okay? So now in order to solve this inequality, you need the bit where the graph is above the x-axis, as its a is greater than 0. So reading out the graph, you can see that the solution should be x is less than 3, since you want the values everything less than 3, and x should be greater than -1. So now this is your solution to this question of how to solve this inequality, which is greater than 0. And yeah, we just leave it as it is. We do not specify the values of x, we just show the inequality. We're just solving the inequality, and yeah, it's pretty simple, so that you guys can understand how to solve this. Let's move on to the next question. Okay, the next question is more like a part of the chapter of graphing inequalities, so it's better to know some tips defined here. So one tip that you guys must know: if you have a less than or a greater than symbol, you have to use a dotted line while drawing the graph. And if you have a less than equal to or greater than equal to, you have to draw a dashed line. That's the only tip that you guys have to understand while dealing with these graphs. So we're going to treat this all as normal equations, and we're going to use the y equals mx plus c graph concept, straight line graphs. So you have here x plus y should be equal to 5. So you have x is equal to -x plus 5. That's one equation. I'm going to write there 1. And you have y is equal to x plus 2. And that is one equation as well. And you have, that's the second equation actually. And you have y is equal to 1. That's the third equation. So I'm just going to draw a graph. I'm just going to check if we have lines and grids here. So we're going to put grids here so I can show you guys how to draw this or shade the region that satisfies all three of these inequalities. So what I'm going to draw is, usually in the exam paper you might get a graph already drawn. So I'm just going to draw here just to show you guys a basic idea how to do this question, okay? So yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 should be here. If we just sketch this graph like this. Sorry if the sketch is not that great, okay? Just leave it as it is. So, and you have a positive 2 here. Positive 2, 1, 2, 3. So you have 5, 1 down. You have a point. You're going to draw the graph here. Alright, I'm just going to draw it like it is. I'm going to label all the points. Remember guys, do label all your points. It's really critical that you guys label all your points. So you're going to draw a straight line curve just right across there, okay? Once you do that, you're going to draw again with 2 here. You have a positive 1 approach there as well, a positive 1 on top and 1 right. Once you do that, you guys should understand how to draw your graphs well. This is just mainly graphing inequalities. So once you do that, you're going to draw a straight line curve again, and I'm just going to label this as y should be equal to x plus 2, and I'm going to label this as y is equal to minus x plus 5, y equals 1. In order to draw that, all you need to do is just draw. By the way, one key point is that you have to notice is that we have drawn a dashed line for y is equal to x plus 2, and that's correct. But for y is equal to minus x plus 5, we should not draw a dashed line. Now the reason is because is that we should not draw, actually what we need to understand here is that for y is less than x plus 2, you have to draw a solid line, and we have done that correctly. But for x plus y is less than 5, we have to draw a dashed line. So about that, we're just going to draw some nice dashed lines here. On the exam paper, guys, I think it should be easier for you guys to draw dashed lines. So I'm drawing a dashed line, more like a dashed line here, and for the y equals x plus 2, it should be a solid line, okay? And for y greater than 1, all you need to do is just draw a dashed line again at 1's place. Alright? Okay, once you have that, you're going to use something, a tip here is that you're going to use something called a test point. So the best test point in this case would be the origin, right? 0, 0. So I'm going to take all those equations and to test if the theory is correct. So you have x plus y is less than 5, and the x and y coordinates. So x is going to be 0, y is going to be 0. So 0 plus 0 is less than 5, which is true. So that means whatever that comes downwards it's a positive true value. Everything on the other side is true. Now you can either shade the region that satisfies the inequalities, since this question states that you have to shade the region, but sometimes questions might ask you to shade to not shade the region that satisfies all the inequalities. Okay, so and just label it with some letter such as R, or just draw some dots or crosses for that question. Now you have another test point where 0 should be less than 0 plus 2, and which is 0 is less than 2, and that is true. So all the values now for that is true on the other side. Okay, and now y should be greater than 1, so you want all of y values that is greater than 1, which is going to go upwards. Once you do that, you can see a comparison graph here, that you see this portion here, you're going to shade this portion of the triangle where it overlaps all the values. So this is the region where it satisfies all three of the following inequalities. Okay, if you guys want to learn more about this, I might make new videos, so do comment below on what your thoughts are, if you guys need more help on this type of questions. And yeah, I think this is the end of the questions. And if you guys have enjoyed the video, please do like, share, and subscribe to the channel. It really helps a lot. And yeah, I think that's it.